What's up, everybody? It's Wes here, and I just want to take a few minutes to detail a few ways that I feel like you can either make or break a pop song as a producer. Number one, this should be super obvious. This is probably advice you've heard a million times. Your chorus of your song has to be singable, melodically, lyrically, and it has to be catchy. Catchy is one of those things that's really hard to define in terms of music. It's just something that we kind of experience. It's kind of this humanizing thing that we all kind of understand, but yet it's hard to be like formulaic about it. But it's still going to be number one. If you have questions about like how to go about getting a chorus that's catchy, singable, melodically, and all this, hit me up in the comments. I'm happy to talk about it with you personally, or just have a conversation there. A side note to having a really catchy chorus is that your singer has to be good. I feel like I can't say that enough. I know what it's like as a producer, sort of trying to make it out there, that it's really hard to find quality singers who have that combination of a phenomenal voice and songwriting ability and the ability to perform in the studio. So I'll just put that as a side note to number one. If you have a catchy chorus, you have to have a singer who can perform it and deliver that for you so you can capture it in your recording. Number two, you have to have the right song structure. Pop has like a really basic song structure that pretty much every song you hear on the radio follows, and you have to follow it. So I just want to be really specific right now as to what that means. So typically you're going to start out with an intro. Tends to be optional if you want it to be, but in general it'll be intro. You're going to have a first verse, which will sit lower typically than the rest of the song. Verse one, pre-chorus if you want, chorus, and then a lot of times, like now in music, we're doing these drops. Chainsmokers would be a really good example. If you want to reference Don't Let Me Down, they do this exactly. They've got an intro, they've got a verse, they've got a great pre-chorus, and they've got a chorus sort of drop feature that focuses as like the hook moment. It's the part that everybody loves. It's the part you hear 3 times a song because it's the best part. After that, you're gonna do it again, basically. It's verse 2, you've got pre-chorus 2, probably. Some people truncate it the second time, and you've got another chorus, right? After that, you can either hit the chorus again, that's popular. You can do an extended chorus, into a bridge, into a final chorus, and then probably into an outro. So just to make that really brief, and we'll put it here on the screen: intro, verse 1, pre-chorus 1, first chorus, second verse, second pre-chorus, optional, second chorus, maybe an extended chorus, bridge, third chorus, outro. That's basically your pop structure. You can't deviate too far from that. I'm going to get that into point 6 because it's just what people want. It's nice and concise, which makes it really digestible for like mainstream listeners. Number 3 is that you need a yummy chord progression. So basically it's as simple as that. Don't get too basic with your chord progressions. Everyone always says it all the time. People make fun of pop music. It's always just the same 4 chords. It's not the same 4 chords, but inevitably in every key, there are 4 chords that go really well together with some sort of like additional kind of variations and like, you know, arrangements that you can do. So stick to the 4 chords. Stick to like neat arrangements of that. Number 4, which is a real bummer to me actually, your rhythms percussively have to stay pretty simple. So one of my biggest temptations always when I'm creating music is to overcomplicate the percussion. So what I mean by that specifically is we're pretty much talking about your kick drum, talking about your snare drum, and then any kind of like upper level hi-hats that are coming in the mix. So kick drum needs to stay pretty basic. Again, depending on how hip you are with music, like we're talking quarter notes, we're talking eighth notes, we're talking drag triplets, maybe some 16th notes every once in a while, but it has to be pretty simple. In terms of the snare drum, probably going to be on 2 and 4. If you're doing halftime, you're going to hit it on 3 for the most part. The dance hall trend is really popular right now, so just pay attention to the way that you hear the snare hitting on dance hall tracks. That's popular right now. And then your best chance for getting creative in terms of percussion is going to be your hi-hats, and that's definitely where I take my liberties. You can even check out the intro track I have to all my videos. It's actually an excerpt of a remix I did, the instrumental part, and I do some kind of like triplet, 6-tuplet work with the hi-hats just because I want some kind of way to like stick out and be creative in pop music, because pop's so simple. A lot of times you can't really branch out too much without it being like inconsumable. Number 5, best way to make a pop song, to make it, you need Wes White on the track. Number 6, you need to hang out in a time frame range of like 3 minutes to 3:30. Why is that? Well, typically if you follow that pop sort of song structure I mentioned earlier, you're gonna get there anyway, but you can't, it's basically the sweet spot. Less than 3 minutes is a little bit too short. Certainly less than 2.5 minutes is too short, and over 3.5, the upper ranges of 3 is just too long. You don't have the luxury of being Justin Bieber or DJ Khaled and getting like a 4-minute, 40-second song on the radio. It's just not how it's gonna happen for somebody starting out. You gotta keep it in that time frame. It's gotta be consumable and digestible for everybody. All right, so brief recap. Number 1, your chorus has to be singable. It has to be catchy. Number 2, you have to follow a typical pop song structure. Number 3, make sure you have a yummy chord progression, something that creates emotion, something that creates depth. Be creative, but stick to your 4 basic chords. Number 4, your rhythms have to be pretty simple. Okay, so don't get too crazy with your rhythms. Keep it in the box. Think about what your mom could actually bob her head to. It's actually a really good way to think about it. Can mom follow the rhythm? We're good. Number 5, it's kind of a joke, you need West White on the track, but seriously, I'd love to help you out. And number 6, hang out in that 3-minute to 3:30 range when it comes to the entirety of your song. All right, so that's it. Just wanted to go through a few ways that are make or break a pop song for you, things that I find helpful, and I hope you do too. I'll see you guys next time.